General!
Over there. The bus.
Get horses, sir.
Go see.
Riders coming in, sir!
What happened?
Oh my God, sir, we are damn glad to see you.
Have you seen Custer?
We've had no word from him since Sunday afternoon when he left us and rode off with 5 companies.
I believe Custer's command has been defeated.
Oh, that's hard to believe. I think Custer's somewhere down the Bighorn grazing his horses.
You are wrong, Captain Benteen.
Where might he have fallen, sir? Permission to go, sir.
Go. What happened to your Captain Benteen?
Mistakes were made. Oh, how white they look. There he is. Damn him. He will never fight anymore.
I always called him by his baby name, Audie. He was the first child of a second marriage, 6 years older than his brother Tom. Audie! We must hurry! None of his brothers could pronounce Armstrong when they were boys, so they called him Audie.
Audie, I'm going ahead without you.
They will wait for me. A handful of men on a dried patch of grass. They can wait.
My name is Elizabeth Custer. You need a new uniform. I thought the 7th Cavalry would be receiving them by now.
The world does not know that the 7th Cavalry even exists. Uniforms would be too much to hope for.
My husband was a great hero of the Civil War. He was at Lee's surrender at Appomattox. He was daring and dashing. The youngest brevet major general in the history of the Army at age 23. He captured the imagination of the whole country. The 7th Cavalry had been organized in the years following the rebellion. Homesteaders, the miners, and the Kansas Pacific Railroad all were moving America west. The regiment was formed to protect them from the Indians.
Oh, what I wouldn't give for some lemonade. I had weevils in my fly. I had to sift them out. Me too. It's too hot. Oh, I'm gonna faint. I've got dust on my skirt. Will you help me brush it off?
Nice moving on.
Arrangements had been made with the tribes by this time, but the feeling on the frontier was that no Indian had any rights that a white man was obligated to respect. The general was not pleased at the time with his assignment. The plains were considered the great American desert. My husband was a hero. He wanted Washington. I married the man in 1864. We had 12 years together. I adored him.
I heard something too. Is that him? It's up there.
Here we go. Very good.
I was very young the first time I saw him. He sat on his horse. He had a large nose, deep-set blue eyes, and light hair that was long and wavy.
Form the parade!
Don't they look grand? They do.
In review!
I admired him. All of the Cheyenne women talked of him as being a fine-looking man.
Forward! Forward! Forward!
My name on the agency roll is Kate Bighead. I was born when my people were in camp on the Geese River. I spent my childhood with the Southern Cheyenne. Through almost 40 years, many a time I thought of that handsome man I first saw in the South. We Cheyenne called him Hayetsi, long hair. The Arikara called him Creeping Panther who comes in the night. The Crow called him Son of the Morning Star, who attacks at dawn. I remember him. I saw him die. He was called Curly as a child. In his 14th year, he watched helpless as soldiers killed one of his relatives for taking a cow. In his misery and confusion, he had a vision. A warrior rode out of the lake. He seemed to float on the ground while riding his horse. The warrior carried no scalps. His unbound hair hung below his waist, and he wore a smooth brown pebble behind one ear. The warrior's body had been decorated with hail spots, and a streak of lightning ran from his forehead to his chin. Bullets and arrows attacked him, but fell away without touching. A storm broke, yet he passed through unharmed. His own people clutched at him, trying to pull him down. But he rode through them. A red-backed hawk flew above his head. The vision faded. That boy's name was changed to Crazy Horse. From that time on, he felt destined to protect his people from the white man. The white people had been moving west for years, building, cutting roads, pushing the Indians before them. By 1866, barely an Indian nation in America was living on the land we was born to. The Indians did not intend to move further.
Boys, close right. Go, go, go!
Stinking savages! Stinking savages!
Lili, happy Schnee! Let's get those sons of bitches! Hold up!
Stinking savages!
We're not supposed to follow them!
They called it the Fetterman Massacre, after the officer who swore that with 80 men he could wipe out the entire Sioux nation. It was no massacre. Them soldiers were stupid, and they rode to their deaths.
News of the Fetterman Massacre was carried east. It was said that the heads were crumbled, brains were left to freeze on the rocks. Bitter feelings were awakened and the government was implored to punish the Indians. The order the army received was this: we must act with vindictive earnestness against the Sioux, even to their extermination. Men, women, and children.
Colonel? General! Colonel Custer, sir!
I'm awake.
Hey, company, saddle up!
Forward!
The Plains Indian
The
War
Plains
had
Indian
begun.
War had begun.
The war with the Indians for me would end 10 years later. On that hill they call Custer's Last Stand.
They call it Custer's Last Stand, but it was not his. It would be our last stand.
They have fled. They are cowards. And you will pursue them, Colonel Custer. And are we pleased to have you finish and kill every last bloody red savage on these plains?
Yes, General.
The 7th Cavalry crisscrossed the plains that summer. It was a new kind of war, fought in wide open, empty spaces against a complex enemy.
Scattered. They scattered. Give me a civilized war, an enemy I can find and beat, an enemy who fights by the rules!
We'll carry on.
Sir, the men have done 30 miles today.
They can do more.
We were many nations, had many chiefs, and each warrior could make his own decision about when and who to fight. When we fought fiercely. When we fled, it was to avoid slaughter. We had been invaded.
It was a grueling campaign, covered well by the Eastern press. Over $1 million had been spent, with little to show for the effort.
I believe we found the messenger sent from Fort Wallace.
Lieutenant Kidder?
What's left of him?
So many arrows.
We'll see plenty more.
Lieutenant Kidder was carrying orders. Cook!
Sir.
Look for papers.
Yes, sir.
Tom, ask the man from the New York Herald to come over.
All that remains of good men, sir.
Lying in a regular order.
In a limited circle. Find the mangled bodies of Lieutenant Kidder and his company. All individuals scalped. Skulls broken, upper arms slashed to the bone.
Mr. Rivers.
The Lakota slashed the arm, crippling the warrior in the next life. This man won't even be able to saddle his horse.
The Indian scout. They left the scalp there beside it.
He was a traitor in their eyes.
Brutally hacked and disfigured so as to be beyond recognition as human beings.
We shall bury them.
Cavalry provisions were terrible. The men were eating rations left over from the Civil War. Soldiers suffer from inactivity, restlessness, scurvy, and cholera. My husband was a strict officer. Conditions demanded it.
Deserters! Deserters!
Deserters, General.
Who is saddled? Who is saddled?
Here, sir!
We have deserters. Follow those men and shoot them, and bring none of them in alive. Send a supply wagon after them. Sound assembly. Yes,
You wish permission to speak, soldier?
Yes, sir.
Granted.
I've heard talk, General. 30 men plan to desert tonight when we're near the route to Colorado.
Wagon, Doctor. I have no sympathy with those men. They will receive no aid. Is this clear? We're heading back to the fort. Form your men.
We are returning to Fort Wallace! We are returning to Fort Wallace!
I was a frontier wife, and as a young woman, I admit nothing delighted me more than to be rescued by a gallant man. Audie knew this, and when he heard of cholera epidemics at Fort Riley and Fort Wallace, he simply left his regiment on the trail and rode alone almost 300 miles to me. Perhaps it was unwise, but oh, it was gallant.
Thank you for informing me of that thing. You're not sick?
No. What are you doing? How did you get here?
I went to Fort Wallace and I didn't find you, so I moved on to Fort Hayes. I had to leave a few men there to get on to Fort Harker. And still no wife. So I came alone.
Oh. Your men?
They can live without me for a time. And here I am. The beautiful Fort Riley. I didn't marry you for me to sleep in one bed and you in another.
Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer.
Yes.
Sir, you're under arrest.
You may proceed, sir.
Dr. I.T. Coates.
My husband was court-martialed. He was made the martyr for an unsuccessful Indian campaign.
You swear that the evidence you shall give in the case now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very well. Dr. Coates, when you saw the deserters, did you give them any medical attention?
No, sir.
For what reason did you not?
As I was going to it, General Custer said to me not to go near those men at that time. I stood, of course. I obeyed his orders.
How long were those men in the wagon before you gave them medical attention?
I suppose 2 hours.
What kind of medical attention did you give them?
I administered opiates and made them comfortable, just as I would have done on the battlefield.
What was the result of the wound received by Private Johnson?
That wound was fatal. It resulted in death.
When you reached camp on the night of the 7th and gave the wounded men medical attention, who instructed you or directed you to give attendance?
General Custer.
In what words or language did he give the order?
He said, Doctor, my sympathies are not with those men who are wounded, but I want you to give them all necessary attention.
Afterwards, did or did not the accused frequently inquire after their condition?
He did, sir.
What did you understand the accused to mean when he directed you not to go near the wagon containing the wounded men when they came in?
I had at that time an idea the objection was made for effect. I had an idea the general wished to make an impression on the men.
Lieutenant Colonel W.W. Cook, after you arrived at Fort Wallace, with no orders, I remind the court, how many of the detachment departed Fort Hays and started to Fort Harker with General Custer?
1 soldier and 3 officers.
What authority did General Custer give you to leave Fort Wallace? Verbal or written?
Verbal.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
May I add, sir, that between the summer of 1866 and 1867, more than 500 members of the 7th Cavalry deserted. When we fought the war against the Southerners, men who deserted during combat were shot.
It was a buffalo hunt. The dismounted deserters were shot down while begging for their lives.
I have never failed to relieve an imperiled friend, as you charged, or left unburied, or without having provided for the burial of a single fallen man in my command, as here charged. Or finally, never saw a man in any strait suffer when by my authority I could relieve him, as here charged. I ask you, at your hands, gentlemen, in the name of justice, a finding of acquittal of all these charges and specifications.
Court finds Brevet Major General George Armstrong Custer, Lieutenant Colonel, 7th U.S. Cavalry, as follows. On the first specification of the first charge, guilty. Of the second specification of the additional charge, guilty.
The general was found guilty of mistreating captured deserters. and of being absent from his command without authorization. He was suspended from the army for 1 year.
Our lives had changed so much. The railroads divided the buffalo. White men shot them from trains for sport. The homesteaders' cattle grazed on our lands as we went hungry. By the age of 26, Crazy Horse was a leader of the Teton Lakota Nation. He was a serious man. He never sang, he never danced. He never boasted of his victories. But he did take another man's wife, Black Buffalo Woman, wife of No Water. You see, a Lakota woman was free to choose another husband. But No Water was a jealous man. Crazy Horse disappeared from the village for a time.
At the age of 27, Mr. Custer was without a command. We returned to our hometown of Monroe, Michigan. It's cool here. Didn't General Sheridan order you to shoot deserters without trial? What about General Hancock himself? Didn't he say shoot deserters? You took a leave to find me, knowing none would be granted. Your officers looked on it as ordinary occurrence. You did it because we are determined not to live apart again. And now we have time.
We have 1 year with no pay.
We'll survive, General.
Colonel, the war has been over a long time, and I am really only a colonel. A dishonored one.
In the summer, one long, perfect night. The night you came back to me. It is mine. And blessed be our memories which preserve the joy as well as the sadness. It is mine. For time and eternity.
In 1868, a treaty was signed. War stopped. The forts along the Bozeman Trail were closed, and reservations were built. We were to stay in one place now, while the white people could roam free. The Lakota were to keep forever the lands west of the Missouri River and Dakota Territory, the Black Hills, and the mountains and valleys of the Little Bighorn. The white man was, by law, not allowed to enter these unceded lands without permission from the Indians. The white man brought us gifts. He gave us laws, and then he broke the law.
The pioneers felt betrayed by the Treaty of 1868. They thought prime land had been given to the Indians, and now the Indians were not even using it. War erupted one more time.
Nothing more than a drink of your finest
General
whiskey.
Grant,
Yes, ma'am.
may I have your autograph?
Custer.
You are, sir.
My daddy says you're going to be president soon.
Your daddy is a wise man.
Are you little Phil Sheridan?
Yes.
May I have your autograph, too?
You might also want the autograph of this gentleman, General William Tecumseh Sherman, the hero of Atlanta.
Do any of you know General Custer?
We are proud to know him, miss.
My daddy says he is a brave Indian fighter and the Army should cherish him.
Your daddy is a wise man.
Thank you.
I love the peacock. I do not understand him. Lord help me, I do not understand his popularity. The youngest Civil War general, brave Indian fighter. Half of his men were killed during battle in the South.
And he barely sustained a wound.
He was reckless, impulsive,
dramatic, indefatigable,
vain.
Ulysses, what do you think of our idea?
The Eastern press will devour us.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs over the Department of the Interior has failed. We simply can no longer think of the Indian tribes as independent nations. They have to become citizens, individually responsible to the U.S. law.
You want to hold them collectively, not individually responsible. I fought my Civil War, and it was long and bloody. You want to repeat it? Fighting Indians instead of rebels?
If we are finally to have one nation, sir.
A winter campaign sounds costly and dangerous, Phil.
The Indians think they're safe in the winter. But they're vulnerable. They have no grass for their ponies, and their food supply is limited. And their villages are virtually immobile.
Tell me your plan.
We swing 3 swords at the winter camps along the Washita and the South Canadian River Valley. I launch 1 column eastward, down the South Canadian. A second column will operate southward toward the Antelope Hills and the head of the Red River. These 2 columns will act as beaters in for our 3rd and strongest column, the 7th Cavalry.
Who will lead the 7th?
We want Custer.
Custer. He's been suspended from duty.
Reinstate him, Ulysses.
No, 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 no. He'll charge his men into some sleeping village and commit slaughter.
I have always known you as a man who didn't turn back or stop until the thing intended was accomplished.
Damn Custer. It's your decision.
The telegram arrived as we dined with friends. It read, General G.A. Custer, Monroe, Michigan. Generals Sherman, Sully, and myself, and nearly all the officers of your regiment have asked for you. And I hope that the application will be successful. Can you come at once? Signed, General Philip Sheridan. I'll miss your curls.
I have been reprimanded, and now I return a humble man. I need a victory.
Ollie! The train will not wait for you.
I'll have you with me before long.
I will come when the 7th Cavalry has had its victory.
Audie! He's here!
Custer's back. Yeah!
Hit anything, Tom?
Just before you arrived. Home run, you missed it.
Lie, couldn't hit the side of a barn door.
Sheridan asked for me.
We're glad to have you back, sir.
Sherman and Sheridan both. They asked that I return. They need me.
The U.S. said it wanted peace. We were given lands. We were to have them for as long as the buffalo roams. When the buffalo was gone, we were to give up our ways and begin to live like the white men. Chief Red Cloud told us how the white man lived. You must put away the wisdom of your fathers, he said. You must lay up food and forget the hungry. When your house is built, your storeroom filled, look for a neighbor and seize all he has. Our land for as long as the buffalo roams. By a year's time, the white man broke the promise.
Orders from General Sully, sir.
Is that all, sir?
Yes, sir.
At ease.
So, how is General Sully? He has no business commanding my expedition. I don't know what Grant was thinking, giving the 7th to him.
I don't think he'll last long now that you're back. Besides, you have such natural leadership qualities.
Oh, and don't you forget it, little brother. Think you should have been the general?
I didn't need to be general.
I won all the medals. Well, I understand that you've been under arrest a few times.
It's drinking.
You promised Libby.
I'll be better now that you're back.
Well, who's with us?
Weir and Yates. Cook is, of course, delighted that you're back. He wants to know if you saw his darling Diana in Monroe.
Still smitten?
Benteen is no friend. He calls us the Custer clan.
And so we are.
How are mother and father?
Fine. Nevin is sickly. And Boston is growing. He's a man now.
And Margaret?
A beauty.
Colonel Custer. Permission to enter, sir?
Come in. Gentlemen, the 7th Cavalry is a disgrace. The men are depleted and demoralized. And it will be our job to bring them back to fighting condition. Lieutenant Cook, I want 3 columns sent out in search of Indian encampments.
When, sir?
Tonight. By the end of the week, we shall all of us march to the Medicine Lodge Creek and return here. Maybe then we will be prepared for the duty that awaits us.
Are these General Sully's orders, sir?
They will be. Captain Weir.
Yes, sir.
You will collect all the men's horses and divide them according to color. I want each company on its own color horse. It will be an impressive sight. Napoleon did it.
Yes, sir.
Cook. Can the band play Gary Owen?
No, sir.
I want to hear it by tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
Attention! Right press! Ready! Front! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8! Eyes right! Home, woman! Load carbines! Right shoulder, hip! Arms, forward! Ready? Dismount! Dismount! Let's move! Come on! What's the matter with you? Let's go! Hold tight to those horses! Down my horse! Hold on again!
soldier.
You call that clean?
I hope so. Keep working.
Sarge, put your back into it. Mount!
My husband was called many things. Brave soldier, hard taskmaster, fearless, reckless. He was all of those things, and his men were proud to follow in his charge. The 7th Cavalry longed for a war record of its own. The regiment moved deeper into uncharted territory.
I have your orders. Shall I read them to you?
You've never read orders to me, sir. If you wish, for the record. Or for General Grant.
Proceed south in the direction of the Antelope Hills, then toward the Washita River, the supposed seat of the hostile tribes. Destroy their village and capture the ponies, kill or hang all warriors, and bring back all women and children.
Yes, sir.
The winter of 1868. The Cheyenne camped on the Washita River. Oh my, it was a beautiful place.
Campaign of 1868. My husband had waited for his victory. He was ready.
Our chief, Black Kettle, flew an American flag over his teepee. The Commissioner of Indian Affairs had told him it would keep us safe. The sound of music woke me up.
empty, we burn the village, quickly! Well worth the victory, don't you think, soldier?
What should we do about Major Elliott, sir? He rode off with 15 men. Has not been seen since.
It's unfortunate. But we have Indians approaching, and I intend to save my wounded. Recall your men. We're moving out, Captain.
We're deserting, Major Elliott?
Recall your men! Burn them!
Washita was a great victory for my husband. 51 lodges were destroyed, 53 women and children were taken prisoner, and 103 Indian warriors were killed.
11 of our warriors died, and we remember their names. The rest of our dead were women and children. It was always about the land. The land divided us. We both wanted it.
Permission to enter?
Enter.
I feel it is my duty to inform you that the men are in an ugly mood. They feel you left the field without ascertaining the condition of Major Elliott.
Is that also your belief, Captain?
It is.
I will not be chastised by you. I will not tolerate insubordination. Let a man make such an accusation, and I will horsewhip him within an inch of his life! You're dismissed! This is a victory! I don't need to defend my actions to anyone!
You need to defend them to me, sir.
I will see you again, Mr. Benteen.
Camp Supply became a holding place for many Cheyenne women and children. Meotzi was my cousin. She was captured by the soldiers. She had a blonde-haired child, a girl, named Yellowbird, Custer's child. So says my family history. I never saw the child. She died at 1 year. If it were true, then this made Custer my relative, in a way.
We talk.
Custer came to our camp. In the lodge of the Medicine Arrow Keeper, he was offered the pipe.
I come for peace. I do not come for war. The white man wants to live in peace with the Cheyenne. We have learned that you have white captives. I wish the chief to return the women. Also, I wish that the Cheyenne return to their reservation. I keep my captives. I keep your men until the women are released.
Estes, Nestes, Miha, Whoa.
He says that if you break this peace with the Cheyenne, and you follow them, you and all your soldiers will be killed.
I will remember my words. I will not hunt the Cheyenne.
And so it was agreed. Custer held 3 of our chiefs captive. For their freedom, we would trade 2 captured white women the next day. In those times, a white woman was told that it was better to kill herself than be taken captive by us. Our warriors felt the same.
I know so little about them.
I think in the end, we will know nothing. Maybe that's best.
Not for me. I want to know what they...
Tell me.
What do they think the world is? Suddenly we Europeans arrive, we bring horses and guns and wagons, we build houses, we run trains across the land. What do they think of us? What was their world like before we became such a part of it? Or do they think of these things? Are they able to?
What do they think of you?
I am a bluecoat. I speak with forked tongue.
They think I'm very handsome.
So I understand. And what do you think of them? Are they beautiful? Are the women beautiful to you?
You are the most beautiful woman in the world. And I know a lot about the world.
After you left for Fort Dodge, I went and stayed at my father's house in Monroe. I would sit and look out the window and remember that Custer boy would walk back and forth in front of my gate, courting me obsessively.
I remember that Custer boy. Fresh out of West Point. Dead drunk. Horribly drunk. Stood outside your gate and hollered your name. Till my brothers came and dragged me away.
Shameful.
I haven't had a drink since.
No. It was shameful how you wooed me.
I was meant to do it. And there is nothing I meant to do that I will not attempt, even if it's...
If what?
Even if I'm wrong.
We lit the prairie on fire. Now, of course, we know fires did not stop the white man. But then we lit the tall grass on fire to slow the bluecoats if they tried to chase us.
Untie them. Tell them they can go.
Tell them that when the Cheyenne return to the reservation, then they will be free men.
Mitä? Somomononaki. Okisnasti. Stomo wetome.
What did he say?
Says they are free men now.
Take them back to our camp.
The white captives were returned. Our chiefs were not returned. They were killed by the bluecoats. We moved west. Now we grew closer to our friends, the Lakota. Red Cloud went to meet with President Ulysses S. Grant. Red Cloud was a peace chief. He had opposed the white man, but now something had changed in him. He had seen the cities, the machines, the number of people. He saw the inevitability of the white man.
We welcome Chief Red Cloud of the Oglala Nation. He came here to witness the ways of our people. We invite him to hear our words and recognize the sincerity of our promises.
No.
Oh, sit.
Iyota kayo.
Wiok peata wahiyelo.
I come from where the sun sets.
Oakan kekile na akal ijaknia.
You were raised on chairs.
Wiok peata tokel makehechi hechelel makintelo.
I want to sit as I sit where the sun sets.
Tungashila yapiki yokia kayo. Lakota oyan keki.
I had 2 mountains in the Dakotas.
Wagleyelo. El oganachamko wajini wachishni.
I want no roads there.
Akichita oyankeki eyo jujupi wachielo.
I asked that he remove Fort Fetterman.
Fort Fetterman must remain.
Fort Fetterman, yapikihi tokomne inahintelo.
As a protection for Indians and whites alike. I am not at heart an aggressive expansionist. I do not believe in it. What I do believe in is one nation for all. 500,000 of my people died recently for one nation. Can Chief Red Cloud control his warriors? Can he keep peace?
Wakola kichie kile glus najin.
Makoche kilel towa tahoki tokea nach umpiyo. Ikchewe chasha itaze pa unkile na epel.
Whose voice was heard first in this land? It was the red people who used the bow. Our nation is melting like the snow on the sides of the hills when the sun is warm. While your people are like the blades of grass in springtime when summer is coming.
You tell him this very directly. Survival is victory, Chief Red Cloud. You can't stop us now. You can only survive among us.
He ano unyaptapi o yakihi snijelo utkegna inskinsia ne ya unkite michegla yelo.
This is your land.
Lama koche kinetawa yelo. Why these lines?
Boundaries. Where the land ends.
Le makoche ki hihanyan ihanke yelo.
Onewa kunkapelo.
It is lies.
What did he say?
Lies.
The Americans invaded our sacred Black Hills. I came to the Northern Cheyenne when their reservation was in the Black Hills country. But white men found gold there, so the Indians had to move out. The Cheyenne were told that they had to go to another reservation, but not many of them moved. They said it was no use, as the white men might want that reservation too.
The army did not invade the Black Hills. They went in to try to stop the flow of settlers. Back east, the banking houses failed. The stock market crashed. Farm prices plummeted during the worst grasshopper plague in history. 20% of the city's labor forces were unemployed.
Nice talk.
There were more people in jail than any other time in the history of the nation. Homeless tramps roamed the country. The nation needed expansion to the west.
That was my animal, boys. What?
Big, brave man. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
Not brave for you. Braver just to reach out, touch an enemy, count coup. Bloody Knife, my friend, why are you not out here, living like a real Indian?
Kagi.
It is finished? Is it?
It is time to live like the white man.
Progress.
Crazy Horse had this to say about those treaties which he never signed. One does not sell the land upon which all living things walk.
Home, you!
The Indians gave up all hope of ever living peacefully with the white man.
President Grant found himself caught on the horns of a dilemma. Prospectors and settlers clamored for protection as they moved into the Black Hills. The tide was deep, the migration inevitable.
They will not cede the Black Hills territory.
But they have broken the treaty themselves by attacking the settlers.
Trespassers.
In our minds, sir, they started it.
So we issue an ultimatum.
All Indians must report to their agencies by January 31st, 1876, or be considered hostile.
I heard the story that before the great battle, Crazy Horse rode a long ways to the burial scaffold of his 3-year-old daughter. She had died of cholera. One more gift from the white man. Crazy Horse stayed with his child for 3 days and 3 nights. And when the 3 days were done, he painted red lightning on his face and white hailstones on his body. And he tied a brown pebble behind his ear. For this, the warrior in his vision had told him to do.
Coup.
All Indians must report to their agencies by January 31st.
If this request is not complied with, if the Indians do not come in, the Commission of Indian Affairs will turn the problem of the hostiles over to the War Department, who will initiate a campaign aimed at containing the hostiles and returning them to the reservation and to the jurisdiction of the United States of America.
And then we're all sons of bitches.
Military operations may be commenced whenever, in the opinion of the War Department, such action becomes necessary.
And sometime this winter, it will become necessary.
Agreed.
We've been killing Indians for hundreds of years. Let's get the business over with. I want Custer to head the expedition. We need one great bloody battle.
He'll guarantee one.